Welcome back, MTG Joe here. Today, thanks to the folks at Wizards, we have a free preview account of the new Final Fantasy set. Final Fantasy meets Magic the Gathering, an exciting new set coming in about a week's time to the Arena client, but a bunch of streamers have early access, and the intent here is to try out these new cards. We're not going to just, play Is It Corey Steele as it is, maybe switch one card. We're going to try out stuff, see what works, what doesn't. The way I like doing these videos is kind of a check to see, are these decks A, viable, B, which cards seem worthwhile, which don't. The intent is to try to save you wild cards. I'm not going to really do the bait like this deck's broken. I record 20 videos and cut to 3 where a deck actually does its thing. So we're going to do straight through. We'll do like 5 to 10 games depending on the speed, but really what we want to see is how these archetypes play out. So what we got today is Bant, blue, white, green birds, Coco Boko Boloko Loco. So traveling Coco Loco Boko, 3 mana, 3/2. You can play. Look at the top card of your library. You play lands or bird spells from the top of your library, kind of an Oracle Moldiah style effect. If a land or bird causes an ability to trigger, it triggers an additional time. What this is relevant is a number of the bird effects care about landfall. So something like Saz's Kokoboko. Landfall, you put a counter on it. Same with what we have here, Coco Seeker of Paradise, a legendary bird, 3/5. Whenever one or more bird you control attack, you look at that many cards from the library, you put one into your hand, and then you put all the lands basically into the battlefield. This also has landfall, so you kind of get that effect. So in combat, you get to put the lands in, you trigger all those abilities. And then another new card we have here is Bart's Boko. So 5 mana, 4/3, legendary creature, affinity for birds. So it gets its cost reduction down to as little as 2 mana, 2 green, if you have 3 other birds out. And then when it enters, each other bird you control deals damage equal to its power to target creature an opponent controls. So it's kind of like a fight spell stapled to a creature. Now, how we're kind of piecing together the deck. Healer Hawk, 1 mana, 1/1 flying lifelink. So we could kind of scale it up with things like Valley Quest Caller, which is a Lord, as well as Imperium Eagle, which works with our flyers. Now, notably, some of these birds don't fly. You're kind of ostriches, so they stay to the ground. So this may be too many copies of the Eagle that we want to try out in these decks. So you usually see bird, you think flyers, kind of that effect. Mockingbird basically is any creature in the deck. You can kind of get that extra effects. Copy your opponent's stuff. Then we have Jackdaw Savior, 3 mana, 3/1. Whenever this creature, another creature dies, you return target creature with lesser mana value to the battlefield. So if they have a lot of removal, it kind of recycles some of those creatures for you. So you kind of get those effects. And then lastly, Enduring Curiosity. Thought here is we got a bunch of cheap flyers. We need ways to refill our hand. So kind of, if I could play 4 of these, if they weren't legendary, I would, but they're legendary, so we're kind of playing that. These ones are really good for the archetype, but being legendary, you don't want multiples in hand. Some really good cards we have in the mana base. Cavern of Souls, naming bird, so fixes our mana, untapped land. We also have Secluded Courtyard, same idea. And then lastly, we have Starting Town, a new card. So it's kind of in the way here, but let's put it here with my video. So it's basically similar to like the Alchemy design. If it's the first 3 turns of the game, kind of like the fast lands, it comes into play untapped, and then it's a pain land of any color. So it's like a pseudo mana confluent with the restriction of post subsequent turns, it comes into play tapped after turn 3. And then it also has the town subscript. So it's a new type of land that plays with Balam Garden Seed Academy. So it enters tap for a Simic land. It is a town itself, and then for 7 mana, which costing 1 less for each town, you can flip it and it becomes a vehicle. So it is a 5/4 crew 1 vehicle that when it attacks, you draw a card. So you flood, you have some kind of mana sink there. We have Restless Anchorage, which is a bird. We have Restless Prairie in the mana base as well. So that is it for the deck. Let's put it into action and see how it plays out. I'll cut all these videos. We'll see how things go. And let's continue our journey. So as always with these, the intent with the streamer event is let people do their things. We're not going to concede right away unless they have basically lethal. And really what we want to see is, again, should we spend wild cards on this? How does it play out? And kind of go from there. So we're playing Internet Dave. This looks super reasonable. We'll name Bird. The one thing here, this isn't a bird, so we'll name Warrior. I don't think, incidentally, we have any warriors. Ha! I don't play spells in my deck. This also helps set up our draw, which is really nice. Okay, that line's actually good because I can keep these on birds. And then Kokobo. Alright, so Demon Walls, new demon, that obviously works with Unholy Annex. I'm gonna keep that on top. Up to 23 here. You can see potentially Unholy Annex. Roted. All bird here. Cut down here. That is a bit annoying. We can wait a turn. I think we're still doing it. I know we don't get the kill here, but I think just playing it out and then trying to get curiosity going here. Oh, I don't have blue for this. Oh. Okay, so note to self. We do need to name Glimmer or fix this. So, learning curve. We are learning, folks. Comes into play tapped. We don't want to tap blind here. We run the risk here if they kill the quest caller. They can trade with my Kobloko. I think we're fine with that. Alright. Bird, bird, bird. Bird is the word. Okay, so one thing we kind of know, we might just need to look at the mana base very quickly. Alrighty, so I ended up having to cut the individual games just to piece together. There's too much dead time in between finding opponents, so these are consecutive games. We are just cutting it for a reduction in time between games. Alright, playing Delmo. We got a little Coco Bloco. Probably not a sheltered target. We hit another one. That lets us do it for next turn. Healer hawking here. Graveyard deck. Need another green. Golgari graveyard shenanigans. So we don't necessarily want to hit the Overlord. Green source off the top would be good. Otherwise we have sheltered for next turn, but really want to get Bart's going. Oh, what is this? We'll take a look. That's 4, 6. Only 6 damage. So prevent all combat damage. That would be dealt 2 diamond. So it's an 8/8 vigilance. This is and enters each other bird. So don't necessarily want to get that hit just yet. beat down like that. We can hit him for next turn. So it looks like their removal is the Quag Feast. They would need land to be able to hit this. And then Quag Feast is mana value, so they would have enough permanence. Alright. On the board. Alrighty, jumping in match 3 with birds. So this hand's, I think, a bit awkward. We don't have the green, we have double this. This isn't really a turn 1 play that we necessarily want to do. Mind you, it's still like this into this could hopefully find it, so maybe we try it out. Might be the mirror. Alright, we've upgraded ours. Thanks for helping. So there's the Plum-free familiar, the Flash. There's also the new one. Yeah, just gives hexproof. Need a green source. Need a green source. Hand's very good if we could hit a green source. No! Green. Thank you. I think we're in defensive mode right now. Take the block there. Play this for the following turn. This will also get this bigger. This one to copy. We'll just trade, take the block here. I don't want to trade. So we'll try to play lions off the top. This isn't bad, but I think this turn... do the curiosity line, but this is just a big one. I could try to trade here. Might have been right actually for curiosity because this forces me to attack with this. So you may look... oh, I guess that's a May. Reading the card helps with that. That's actually a pretty good trade for us, I think. They're kind of stuck on lions. Back there. None of these have flying. Oh no, I did that wrong. Okay, so you gotta decline to put the card in hand. And then you can kind of take it from there. So I think here, I'm gonna flash in Curiosity, I think. Since it could draw me some cards. This is another good one though. Just in terms of... do it like this. So we should have had this land in play already. There's a little bit in terms of sequencing. Some as we learn how the cards work. We don't have Coco Bloco. Let's put probably Irium Eagle. That's 5 power coming through. They can trade with the Eagle there. They trade there. We'll draw a card here. And then next turn I can play Coco Loco again. So they'll get something back, but we're pretty far ahead. We've been able to ramp pretty well. Which all plays pretty well in terms of the strategy of what we're trying to do. So remember, it's first decline, and then from there. Plumgree. No green, but that'd be good for next turn. We're up to 13, we're ahead on board. Do this. Get a whole bunch of triggers. Put Jackdaw in hand. No landfall, but get to draw 2. Now we have a Lord, we have a land here. Okay, so they finally hit their land drop. The Coco Melon. Double fight seems sick. See how much damage we can push. Make a map token. We'll put Sheltered in hand. Put 2 lands into play. Pew! Alright, that's a nice amount of damage there. So it does help you kind of churn through your deck at a super reasonable pace, which I like. But another one on the board. We will cut it, bring you to match 4 right after this. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, match 4 against the nerdy Steve. Coco, West Caller, Curiosity, keep. Alright. So what do you do? As flying during your turn, you can spend it to activate. Let's get you going. Next turn I have Curiosity, or Sheltered, and then I can follow it up with a Curiosity. This looks like red, white, equipment. Illegal! Second here. think we're gonna take the steel cutter. And then just chunk in. Next turn we have Coco here. Or we have Enduring Curiosity. The drop select's kind of a new Former Rodent style effect. So I can Mockingbird, my Valley Quest Caller, the Freya. I think we're just gonna do this. Try to find a land on top. Sequence it right, get a counter. Big ol' bird damage. Alrighty, we'll catch you for match 5 after this. Thanks for watching. Alrighty, jumping in to match 5. We are 4-0 with the deck so far. Alright, hand looks good. So since it's both a pain land, this one has the restriction of the turn it could come into play, so we're going to start here. Cut down. Torch. Actually much worse because of the Jackdaw. Well, let's run creatures out into eventual removal. Pixie coming down. The nice thing here is if they kill this, I still get a creature back, so we don't necessarily lose out on that value. Hopefully see a new card out of the opponent. Demonic Pack. So they are going to donate the pact to me. You are Glimmer. Force us to discard. Probably do these two. I do think potentially I need to hit this pact before it gets donated to us. I wanted to do this just to get the engine going. Get rid of my Lord. Could see a Bargained Torch if they have it. Sheltered here. Start with attacking, see what they do. So they pick that up. They play it again. This is one of the other birds, but we're not really doing anything with like picking stuff up and putting it back down, so I didn't think it was necessarily relevant. They may have us discard here. Opting for the card draw. With Nightmare, we get rid of Sheltered here. Let's try other pixie effects. Not really anything notably new. Taking block here. So this could... Oh, that's not on Glimmer, so we couldn't cast it anyways. So they do need to find the Armless, which they do, so they beat us that way. So, kind of a dumb way to lose. Not really anything new except a 1-of here, so... They got us. I mean, getting Nightmared repeatedly, Hopeless Nightmaring. It's a good test to kind of see how it kind of plays out, but we'll be back for the next match. Match 6. Cactus Man. Alright, so we got birds. We got birds. Duress me. You know you want to do it. I see your Healer Hawk, and I play Healer Hawk. Interesting to see what the black is for here. Life gain. No blocks. Alright, so I'll get my own Pride Mate. But my Pride Mate flies, how about that? So it's a bird in its addition. The Healer Hawks 4 days. Damage here. It's a bit awkward here because I can't get the attack through necessarily. Because like I could Bart's here, but this is only 4, and then they're going to gain the life, which gets this larger. So I think we have to take a turn here. I guess this would work in the sense that this gains life, which would trigger this. I just don't know the sequencing. We can do this turn. I'd be curious to see how that plays out. I think it would work because this would trigger off the damage, this would gain the life. I just don't know if like state-based, like what takes precedence, if the damage all occurs at the same time before the life gain trigger. Dark Confidant. Oh, it's probably a Cecil deck, kind of playing with your life total as a resource. Take 6 here. Alright, so we have a land on top. Start with you. Play bird. Copy that. We get double triggers here, so we're going to hit this and the Dark Confidant. So the damage happens and then the life gain. So we wouldn't have been able to kill it that turn. Going for 5 here. Maybe shouldn't have attacked that turn, since I have to block with this Coco Bloco. They could swing, but we have a big swing in terms of the crackback. So we find land. Land does double triggers here. I could kill 2 more things, which probably seems like the best. We'll keep the original. 22 damage. So taking off the Dark Confidant, just limiting the amount of card draw they have. We also gain life there. In for alpha. They can block 11, they take a whole bunch of damage. Alrighty. The Coco the roaming one, just kind of playing off the top of your library. The Bart's is really good. Kind of playing with those effects. So we will do one more match and then stay tuned for the wrap up. Alright, jumping into our last match. We've only dropped a single game with this deck against Demonic Pack of all decks. We'll take a look at this one, see how this line plays out. These Travelers seem pretty good. We can copy their play on too, depending on what they put out there. Let's go bird here. Should have played a different land. I could have played Quest Caller. Bit of a mistake there. Trade in combat with them. Not the worst, but I think we just wait. Let's turn here. They've cut down. Black-White Knights. 6 here. So I'm gonna kill this, since this deals the damage and this has pro-white. A 3 life. I'm in for 6 here. I think we trade these off now. Okay, Curiosity isn't bad. Okay, we need to name Glimmer with that land. Let's not forget that. I should have... no, but I want this scry here. We did have cut down. Land on top, so I'm probably going to trade off Bart's here. Do this, because then I have Curiosity for next turn. Let's see if we could chain some birds in. Sheltered is pretty good. That was a... Ah. I'm dead. Yeah, we needed them not to hit that. They found it, and then they had enough to kind of get around there. And then we know we're drawing Sheltered, which doesn't actually do anything. They're just a bit unfortunate here. Can't do that anyways. Ah, just a little off. If they didn't draw the Sheltered there, we can surprise block. We stay alive. We just block whatever they put the most on. And then I get to Shelter and then just go to town drawing cards. They had it. Just drawing 3 of those seems pretty strong. And kind of got us that way there. Overall, I was quite impressed with the deck. We were able to kind of chain through a bunch of stuff. I think it was reasonable both from card advantage. We were playing off the top of our deck, playing a bunch of lands. I'll put a bunch of power, gain life back. I think there's definitely some configuration that this deck might be reasonable in. The Glimmers might not be needed, like the Curiosities. Instead, maybe just playing a little bit lower on curve in terms of like bounce effects, maybe some other 2-drop birds, just filling in the curve a little bit more. But let me know what you think. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for watching.